Welcome to CBSE English Tutorial, a visual guide.
All right, let's talk about something that is quite literally the backbone of a good sentence: subject-verb agreement. Now you might think, oh, grammar rules, but trust me, this one is everything. Get it right and your writing just flows. But when you get it wrong, it's like hitting a speed bump you didn't see coming. I mean, just look at this. This is kind of what it feels like when your subject and verb are fighting with each other. It's chaotic, it's confusing, and it just doesn't work. So today, our job is to step in, play the peacemaker, and bring a little harmony back into your sentences.
So what is this whole agreement thing really? Well, you can think of it as a partnership. It's this simple core idea that the main players in your sentence have to be on the same team. Let's introduce them.
First up, you've got the subject. This is the star of your sentence, right? It's the who or the what that the whole thing is about. It's the person, the place, the thing, the idea. It's basically the main character. And of course, every main character needs something to do. That's where the verb comes in. The verb is the action. It's what the subject is doing or simply what the subject is. You just can't have one without the other. They're a duo.
And I absolutely love this metaphor for how they work together. Think of it as a handshake. A singular subject, just one thing, needs to shake hands with a singular verb. And a plural subject, more than one thing, needs to shake hands with a plural verb. They have to match up perfectly. It's this fundamental agreement.
And that handshake, that partnership, really boils down to one simple, fundamental rule. It's all about counting. Is it one or is it more than one? Okay, so here's the rule that trips so many people up. It's usually about one tiny little letter, S. Take a look. In the present tense, a singular subject, like the report, gets a verb with an S on the end, concludes. But when the subject becomes plural, the reports, that S on the verb, it just vanishes. It becomes conclude. It's kind of the opposite of how we make nouns plural, which is why it can feel so counterintuitive.
All right, now that we have the basic rule down, it's time to put on our detective hats. We're going to go investigate what I like to call the usual suspects. These are the tricky subjects that are almost always behind the crime of a subject-verb error.
First on our list is the uncountable noun. Now, these are words for things that we think of as a whole, like a single blob of stuff. Think about it: research, water, information. We don't really count them one by one, do we? We see them as a single mass or a single concept.
And here's a perfect example of how that works. You know, even though research might be made up of hundreds of different facts and figures, the word itself is treated as one single unit. So you'd never say, the research were. No, it's always singular. The research was limited.
Okay, our next suspect is a repeat offender. This one is probably responsible for more subject-verb mistakes than any other. I'm talking about indefinite pronouns. Just look at this lineup. You've got words like everyone, everybody, anyone. Now, I know what you're thinking. Everyone feels plural, right? It sounds like you're talking about a whole group of people. But here's the twist. Grammatically, every single one of these is treated as singular. Always. No exceptions.
And here is that classic error in action. Our brain thinks everyone equals all the people, so we want to use the plural verb, have. But you have to fight that instinct. The rule is absolute. Everyone is singular, so it must shake hands with the singular verb, has. And for our final tricky subject, we have a group of imposters. These are nouns that are dressed up to look plural because they end in an S, but they're actually singular.
Mathematics is the perfect example. You've also got words like news, physics, or economics. Even though they have that S at the end, they each represent a single field of study or a single concept. So they need a singular verb. It's not mathematics prepare, it's mathematics prepares.
Okay, so we've tracked down the tricky subjects. But what happens when the subject isn't tricky? It's just hiding. Sometimes the way a sentence is built can totally throw you off and make it really hard to spot the real subject.
This right here is one of the biggest traps in the English language. Check out this sentence.
You see that phrase, of my friends, squeezed right between the subject and the verb. Your eyes are immediately drawn to the plural word friends, and your brain screams plural verb. But wait, friends isn't the subject. The real subject is one. The trick is to mentally cross out that interrupting phrase. Then it becomes clear. One likes.
Now, here's a weird one. Sometimes the sentence structure is flipped on its head, and the verb actually shows up before the subject. This happens all the time in sentences that start with there is or there are.
Here's the secret to these. The word there is never ever the subject. To find the real subject, you have to look after the verb. In this case, the subject is many reasons, which is clearly plural. So the verb has to be plural to match. There are many reasons. And for our last challenge, we have pairs like either or and neither nor. When you use these to connect a singular and a plural subject, which one does the verb agree with? Well, the rule is actually pretty simple. It all comes down to what's closer.
This slide shows it perfectly. Look at the left. The singular noun television is right next to the verb, so the verb is singular, works. Now look at the right. We just swapped them. Now the plural noun radios is closer, so the verb becomes plural, work. The verb is basically just lazy. It agrees with whichever subject is right next to it.
Whew! Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, from tricky nouns to hidden subjects and proximity rules. So let's take a step back and answer the big question. Why should you even care about any of this? At the end of the day, this isn't about being a grammar nerd or memorizing a bunch of arbitrary rules. It's about clarity. It's about credibility. When your subjects and verbs agree, your ideas have a clear, direct path to your reader's brain. Your work feels professional, and it gets the respect it deserves. It makes sure that your message is what shines through, not your mistakes.
Thank you for watching. See you again in a bit.